Hello, dear viewers. Who loves Transformers? Good, good. Because we are going to tell you about 10 insanely powerful Autobots who never appeared in live-action movies. Backstories explored. I'm Andrew Lapomardo, your narrator, and this is Marvelous Videos. Produced by the American toy company Hasbro and Japanese toy company Takara Tomy, the Transformers were one of the highest-grossing media franchises, generating more than $25 billion of revenue in the year 2011. The idea of giant robots transforming into cool and badass vehicles was indeed very catchy, giving everyone a wide range of warrior-like characters. The first set of comics was produced by Marvel Comics during the period 1984 to 1991, followed by the second series from 2002 to 2004, which was produced by Dreamwave Productions. The live-action series started in 2007 and also managed to get huge response from its fans. Transformers were inhabitants of the planet Cybertron, which suffered its demise owing to a civil war between its two variants, Decepticons and Autobots. Both the teams had a long list of heavy arsenal-bearing robots, and their fights were drooled for by the viewers. Needless to say, many of the characters could not make it into the live-action movies, but played a pretty important role in the comics or the animated series. Viewers and fans are yet to witness these characters in their full potential. And so, in today's video, we will be shortlisting 10 of the most powerful Autobots who did not appear yet in live-action movies. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Metroplex heeds the call of the last prime.
Number 1. Metroplex. It is known that the Cybertronians have a unique feature that allows them to transform into mostly heavy vehicles, aircrafts, or even primitive dinosaurs. But have you ever imagined an Autobot who could transform into a city? Yes, you heard it right. Metroplex, the legendary Cybertronian, was so huge that he was the Autobot city itself. He was among the first of the 13 so-called colony titans. Before Megatron had attacked the Ark, which was the only means of escape for the Autobots from the dying Cybertron, he was lying dormant and was known as a legend. During the war, Autobot leader Optimus Prime pulled a few switches and noticed that the city's interiors were consistently changing to accommodate him. Optimus became aware of the presence of another Cybertronian and requested help. Followed by a final switch, the entire Autobot city transformed into a giant robot, Metroplex, and promised to help Optimus Prime and the Autobots. Metroplex's addition to the team turned the tables heavily in favor of the Autobots, with a few devastating blows aimed at targets set by Optimus. The Autobots were on the verge of victory. He, however, gets shot point blank on the chest by Megatron's massive arsenal, after which Optimus captured. Megatron gloated about his victory, but little did he know that Metroplex had survived. Metroplex attacked the Decepticons and faced Megatron one-on-one. To everyone's shock, Metroplex killed Megatron, which made the Decepticons retreat. Unfortunately, with all that fight, most of the energon that was planned to be used by the Ark for their escape got exhausted. A few days later, they found another energy source, which was still not enough. Metroplex then sacrificed himself to provide the Ark with the remaining energy from his body. Metroplex is massive and strong and can lift 75,000 tons of weight. Along with his high durability, his armor was heavily weaponized. A high-energy master standing for microwave application through simulated emission of radiation is mounted on his left shoulder. His chest module contains a bay capable of holding medium-sized vehicles. The left rear tower of his body can transform into a tank called Slammer, which can fire targets within the range of 40 miles. There is a small sports car named Scamper carrying a side-mounted electro blaster within Metroplex and 6 guns. A small robot carrying 6 guns.
Indeed, Megatron. And you are standing in my way.
Number 2. Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus was very similar to Optimus Prime, more like a Prime Light. His armor includes a one-headed cannon and can even transform into a truck. Ultra Magnus first appeared in the TV series in Scattered, the episode of the 3rd season of Transformers Prime. He was a member of the Elite Guard Forces and was a commander of the special Autobot faction called the Wreckers. During the war on Cybertron, he was the second in command after Optimus Prime. When the Ark escaped from Cybertron, Ultra Magnus was amongst the many Autobots, who stayed behind to help the Ark escape smoothly. Later, post-Cybertron's demise, he took to traveling the stars all by himself in search of other surviving Autobots. However, he is not lucky enough to find or rescue any other Autobots, as the moment he reached them, they were either dead or on the verge of dying at the hands of the Decepticons. He later worked with Dinobots, and later further joined Team Prime. Ultra Magnus is an immensely powerful Autobot, and is highly rigid when it comes to following orders. His stern methods often brought him to conflict with fellow comrades. Besides, Ultra Magnus is immensely strong and has once knocked out Starscream with just one punch. He had also dispatched Shockwave with just one hand. He had even lifted the Forge of Solus Prime with ease.
Those batteries are the source of Omega Supreme's rejuvenation.
Number 3, Omega Supreme. Next on our list, we have the very protector of Cybertron, Omega Supreme. He was in charge of safeguarding the Omega Gate, which in turn gave access to the core of Cybertron. Omega Supreme was seen mostly inactive until Megatron and his forces attacked and invaded Lycon, an Autobot-controlled city-state of Cybertron. The Decepticons fought for the Omega Key and wanted to get access to the core of Cybertron. Foreseeing the situation, Sentinel Zeta Prime set a false alarm faking to activate the Omega Key. This alarm wakes up the giant Omega Supreme, as it is his sole duty to protect the core. The Decepticons, who gained control of Lycon earlier, lost all their chances of winning or surviving as the giant robot disintegrated every Decepticon. Following this, Omega Supreme went in pursuit of Megatron and attacked him viciously. Megatron's forces managed to flee, but Omega Supreme eventually tracked them down and attacked with his guns, heat-seeking missiles, and aerial bots. After a fierce battle, Megatron managed to blast Omega Supreme's chest cavity and forced him to give him access to the Cybertron core, which he corrupted with Dark Enagron. Omega Supreme is enormous and immensely strong. His strength and power are enough to shatter a mountainside with little effort. He can easily lift a weight equivalent to 300,000 tons and is impervious to non-nuclear explosives and energy beams. He has a plasma blaster attached to his left arm that can easily cut through a 12 square inch steel cube and a laser cannon that can shoot targets with pinpoint accuracy at a distance of 50 miles. He can transform into a laser cannon tank and a rocket with a launching pad simultaneously. He can launch rockets into planetary orbits, making them adaptable to communication.
Your beauty.
Wow.
Number 4, Fortress Maximus. Fortress Maximus is stated to be one of those special Cybertronians whose sparks are special and appear 1 in 1,000. He is enormous and can transform into a big city. However, he is not the fighting type, as it goes against his pacifist nature. He first appeared in the last episode of The Rebirth, during the fight between the Decepticons and Autobots to possess the key to the plasma energy. The Autobots were stationed at Nebula. After the planet's inhabitants became their allies, one of the Autobots' human friends, Spike Witwicky and Cerebros, created Fortress Maximus from an old Nubilian city. The purpose was to build a giant Autobot capable of transforming into a battle station when needed. After the giant robot's construction, Cerebros became the head of the robot, forming Fortress Maximus. After getting accustomed to the form, Fortress Maximus blasted up in the sky for Cybertron, which he found Scorplock, the giant Decepticon, whom he easily defeated. After their victory over the Decepticons, Autobot leader Optimus Prime asked Fortress Maximus to stay in Nebula and protect the people inhabiting the planet. Fortress Maximus, by nature, dislikes war, but is a valiant and courageous warrior and an Autobot unit leader. He was made for protection by Spike in case Ark, where they were hiding in, got attacked, and was an extremely strong and competent robot. He is armed with heat-seeking dual laser blasters capable of inflicting serious damage to his opponents, along with a fusion-powered photo rifle and twin laser-guarded mortars on his legs. He has 2 armored vehicles named Gasket and Grommet, which could combine to form an efficient mechanic and warrior robot named Hog. This helps him manage situations at more than one place simultaneously. Number 5. Arcee. Next on our list is one of the few female Transformers, Arcee. She was an Autobot from the Generation 1 continuity family. She appears pink, can transform into a motorbike, and is a ruthless and effective warrior for the Autobots. She was a close friend of Hot Rod and Springer, and fought in both the Battle of Autobot City and the Unicron War in 2005. She then served as one of the main warriors for Rodimus Prime, and had once bonded with Daniel Witwicky to form the Headmaster. She had appeared in the 2009 live-action movie, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, but her origin is best explained in Marvel UK's Future Timeline. In 1995, in an alternate timeline, the Autobots were called sexist by a group of angry earthly women feminists, as the Autobots did not have any female robots in their team. Despite several attempts to explain to everyone that Cybertronians do not have any gender by Optimus Prime, the voices of the feminists could not be curbed. Optimus, seeing no other way out, ordered the creation of a new Autobot that would appear like a female counterpart of the Cybertronians. In an inauguration ceremony, Arcee was introduced to the world, but again, being hot pink in color made the mob angry. Meanwhile, the Decepticons, Shockwave, Horrible, Fangry, and Squeezeplay planned and executed an attack to destroy the new Autobot. A fight was waged between the Decepticons and the Autobots, and Optimus asked Arcee to take cover. Seeing his lack of faith in her capabilities, Arcee took part in the fight instead of hiding. She single-handedly fought the 4 Decepticons and made them retreat. Hot Rod admired her fight and complimented it by saying that she was hot, which again infuriated the feminist. Arcee is agile and a very efficient warrior for the Autobots, and her constant urge to prove herself is what drives her ferocity in battle. She can manipulate and refine raw Enegron, and her skills in using the Enegron bow is legendary. She can fire Attack-Trix missiles and is extremely quick compared to a blaster-type unit.
Optimus!
Number 6. Windblade. Windblade is one of the newest members of the Autobots, who made her first comic book appearance in Transformers: More Than Meets the Eye, issue 26, published in February 2014. She was also a major character in the Transformer Prime Wars trilogy animated series. She is not technically an Autobot, as, unlike them, she was born on a planet named Magnus, which is one of the few worlds colonized by Cybertronians after their second civil war. Later, when she was summoned back to Cybertron, Windblade was one of the first who reached and took up the role of a city speaker, as she was successfully able to communicate with Metroplex. Eventually, Windblade rose to the highest ranks within the government and became one of the decision makers for Cybertron. Windblade is much like Bumblebee, whose prime importance does not lie much on a battlefield. Her intellect and communication skills make her one of the team's superior minds. Amongst notable gear, Windblade is equipped with high-tech communication devices capable of tracking down Decepticons. She has the ability to fly, and her wind turbines can inflict concussive blasts capable of stunning her enemies. She is skilled at hand-to-hand fighting and also possesses telepathic abilities. She can communicate with Autobots, read minds, and manipulate them. Autobot leader Optimus Prime later upgraded her during the first season of Robots in Disguise in order to protect Earth. Number 7. Blurr. The next on our list is a Cybertronian speedster named Blurr. He is one of the fastest Autobots on land and adored by millions. Initially, he was consumed with his glory and was a racer, with an extremely inflated ego. He never cared much about anything apart from racing or celebrating, and did not pay much heed to the growing political unrest in his home planet, Cybertron. However, during the initial days of the Cybertronian Civil War, all regular activities came to a halt, and the only thing that concerned the citizens was taking sides in the war. His dear friend Piston joined the Autobots and asked him to come along, but Blurr denied. Later, while getting involved in an accident and caught in a fight, he found the body of his dead friend Piston, who died fighting in the battle. Piston's death had an effect on him, and he finally joined the Autobots to fight against the Decepticons. In course of time, Blurr filled in for a number of roles in the army. He was also part of the Wreckers, but finally gave up to become a bartender. Blurr's exceptional ability is that he can move really fast both in his vehicle and robot form. Blurr can easily defeat Bumblebee in his car form. In his robot form, he can move so fast that his movements appear like a trail of blurred blue light, and hence the name. It is stated that he can move at a speed of 750 miles per hour. Apart from speed, he is an excellent marksman and weapon master. He has a handheld electro-laser rifle, which can inflict fatal blows to his opponents.
Hey, run,
Number 8. Perceptor. Perceptor was one of the genius minds in Cybertron, and an essential member of the Autobots, even before the Cybertronian Civil War, and served under the command of Sentinel Prime. Perceptor's contributions to locating the Enegron source was noteworthy during the Civil War. He also fought alongside Ultra Magnus, Springer, and Wheelie, with his contribution to science and technology. After engaging in a mission to rescue a few captured wreckers alongside Cup, he got himself shot in his chest. This injury was severe, and after recovery, he made notable changes in his armor, like installing a new and more sustainable chest plate and a targeting monocle. His calm and composed knowledge-seeking attitude also changes, and he becomes a quiet sniper with pinpoint accuracy. He once destroyed and tore apart a combiner with one critical shot at its connector joints. Perceptor is the smartest Cybertronian alive, with theories and hypotheses followed by all Cybertronians. Perceptor prefers seeking knowledge, and his prime objective was its acquisition. Perceptor was not a good hand-to-hand combatant like the other Autobots, but had the potential of becoming the best marksman among Cybertronians. His intelligence, along with accurate aim, made him a formidable and deadly opponent for the Decepticons. He used a laser rifle capable of inflicting fatal blows. Number 9. Superion. Amongst Cybertronians, a type called combiners existed, which were essentially 2, 3, or 5 robots combining to form a single big one. Superion was one such combiner robot made of aerial bots. Amongst all combiner robots, there was one issue, and that was the coexistence of all the different minds of the different robots, which often set things in confusion. However, Superion could make all the different minds function in unison, which is why he was a special one. Superion was made up of 5 aerial bots, namely Silverbolt, Air Raid, Fireflight, Skydive, and Slingshot. These 5 aerial bots were gravely dissatisfied working under Bumblebee's command and decided to flee. After leaving the city, they were attacked and captured by Megatron, who later experimented on them and gave them the ability to combine into Superion. With this ability, the amalgamated robot escaped from the clutches of Megatron and once again united with the Autobots. In his combined form, Superion has 2 objectives to serve: destroying the Decepticons and protecting human lives. Superion is made up of 5 aerial bots who give him a huge form and heavy artillery. Silverbolt being the torso, Slingshot and Air Raid being the left arm and leg, respectively, followed by Fireflight and Skydive being the right arm and leg, respectively. Superion is massive and powerful, but is often taken down if he lets his guard down.
Dinobot? You got dinosaur electrons in your circuit, Sky-Lynx. Nevertheless, I am definitely not a Dinobot.
Number 10. Sky-Lynx. With the ability to transform into a space shuttle, a bird, and a lynx, the next and the last Autobot character on our list is the egotistical robot Sky-Lynx. He was considered to be the most magnificent, fearless, and skilled robot in Autobot history. However, he had one issue: his ego, which was tolerated as the good outweighs the bad in him. He was the lieutenant commander of the Autobot army and was sarcastically named by Springer as Captain Modesty. Sky-Lynx had a heroic debut where he saved 3 vastly inferior specimens followed by fighting some ruffians. He even took down the combined forces of the Constructicons and the Tripticons, who tried to shoot him down. However, during the War for Cybertron trilogy, Sky-Lynx tries claiming the Matrix that would designate him as a Prime, but is banished by Train to the Dead Universe. Sky-Lynx was a highly skilled warrior and doesn't lose any opportunity to boast about his capabilities. In his shuttle form, he can traverse through star systems, while in a different transformation, he can split himself into a bird and a lynx. These 2 autonomous components can join and form a high-powerful bird-lynx fusion. In a different universe, he can combine to form Skyrain. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.